Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So this is the very first time we're talking about the Attorney General's race. And this is a story that I'm covering. Everyone's covering it. Red Eagle covered it. Real American covered it. Because it's an earthquake October surprise that a lot of people were not expecting. It was just too good to be true for the Republican Party. But the unfortunate reality is it's just a sad reality that we are electing people that are just maniacs. And that is the Democratic Party. The vast majority of the Democratic Party, don't be surprised, are people like Jay Jones, who was just caught on releasing, or I should say release, but his text messages exposing, fantasizing the violence of his political opponents, and specifically to the former Speaker of the House of Virginia House of Representatives, Jennifer, whatever her name is, Jennifer, and her kids. This is obviously goes into fact that Jay Jones obviously has been a guy who's been raising a lot of eyebrows. He's personally been arrested for DUI, just like Tampon, back in Minnesota. But DUI happens to a lot of people, and obviously, as a result, a lot of people just swing it under the bus, but this one is not going to go that by. So obviously we're going to go ahead and take a look at those comments because we got these comments released. I don't know if it's by the DOJ or the FBI or something like that. But I want to believe I have these out of order. Yes, here we go. Here's the first one. So starting with the first comment says, there isn't, I point blank ask you more than 3 times, and you dug in that you meant it. I honestly am asking a lot today. So this is obviously the colleague, okay, unnamed colleague who is following or has contacts with Jay Jones, that Democratic nominee for the Attorney General. And Jay Jones is going to go under a rant, a full, complete rant about his political opponents and how he wants to kill his political opponents and the kids of his political opponents. So let's go ahead and read his response. I mean, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes, so there we go. Fascist is the word, and we know how violent and dangerous these people are when they use the word fascist, okay? And we do know that fascist to them is anyone that disagrees to them. So how these leftists think, guys, is anyone that steps further to the right or steps to the right on some issue is a step closer to fascism. To them, fascism is the most evilest thing. It's like Satanism to them. And they just can't imagine. I personally can't imagine anyone being a Satanist and worshiping Satan. That's how fascism is like Satanism to them. And they just lose their mind. Anyone that steps to the right on any sort of issue is a step close to fascism, and they're the worst human being ever. And in order to avoid that, you must go further to the left. Keep running to the left. There is no such thing as going far to the left on any issue. As long as you go further to the left, away from fascism, you are safe. And this is the mentality of Jay Jones. Because best believe Jennifer is not a fascist. Jennifer Gilbert, who basically you're saying, Jay Jones, he's participating in domestic terrorism. He's basically threatening the life of not only Jay Jones, not Jay Jones, but Jennifer Gilbert, but her kids. This guy should be in jail. And the last thing he should be doing is running the Attorney General's office of Virginia. Virginia, you guys have a lunatic. You guys have a lunatic running for governor. You thought for Attorney General, Zohran Mamdani's not the problem. You thought Zohran Mamdani's the lunatic in these races? Absolutely not. The number one race you should be watching right now is the Attorney General's race. Because I'm telling you, if Jay Jones, a domestic terrorist, becomes the next governor, or the next Attorney General, I don't know why I keep saying that, the next Attorney General of Virginia, you guys are done. You guys need to leave now. You guys, this guy obviously tells you firsthand that if you dare disagree with this guy, he wants you dead. He wants to kill you. He wants to throw a bullet in your head. We gotta talk more about what he has to say. He said you weren't simply asking questions, and you know it. So his colleague, which I'm assuming is Democratic, because let's be honest, Jay obviously can't stand the Speaker of the House of the state of Virginia. And let's just say he wouldn't be treating his colleague like this if he weren't a Democrat. So it says, I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. You weren't trying to understand. You were talking about how hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. And he responds, yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain, personally do they move on policy. So basically, he's hoping, this is just pure selfishness. He's hoping that the lives of his kids, of this woman's kids, Jennifer Gilbert's kids, they die. They die. They don't get to grow up, and I don't know how old their kids are, let's be honest. They could be like 20 years old. But you could say Jay doesn't want Jennifer Gilbert's kids to have a future. Doesn't matter how old they are. They're children. And just because you don't like Jennifer Gilbert's policy, you don't like that you have a disagreement with her. That is just so sick. So it's one thing to threaten Jennifer Gilbert, which is crazy to say, right? It's so crazy. I never thought I would ever say that, but it's crazy. But it's another step to it, way more step to extreme, to put little innocent kids, their lives in danger, because Jay Jones, an elected official, doesn't like another elected official's politics. So obviously this is a political manifesto, a political agenda. This guy should be thrown in jail. The Democrats will throw a fit over it, but I'm sorry. This is incriminating evidence right here. This is a plot to kill an elected official. This is a manifesto. He is a domestic terrorist, and the last thing he needs is a paycheck from being the Attorney General of Virginia. That would be disgusting and shameful if he won. Virginia, you have a problem if you dare elect this clown. He says more, and it gets even scarier, ladies and gentlemen. For those guys who die before me, I will go to their funerals to piss on their graves. Send them out awash in something. Now the Democratic colleague, is starting to get very scared, very nervous, and very uncomfortable, and he says, Jay Jones, just, you know how your parent says, let's just say, Billy Schmidt, or something like that. I just came up with a random name out of the blue. I don't mean to, or Richard Schmidt, they say the full name, but this time it isn't the full name. You say your first and last name as a way of repercussion, a way of authority to put you in your place. Every kid's gone through that. So what this colleague's saying is putting this kid in this place. Okay, letting him know, I'm uncomfortable. You're pushing it. And then he doesn't take the hit, and he goes off on this big rant. 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. So supposedly, this Jay Jones guy is suggesting that Gilbert is worse than Hitler and Pol Pot. Hitler and Pol Pot, by the way, very familiar, very similar people. The only difference is really political ideology. We don't need to talk about Hitler. Pol Pot, for those who have not known, is the second. It's just right behind Hitler for committing the most tragedies. Pol Pot was responsible for the Cambodian genocide, which was the biggest genocide in Southeast Asian history, and not only that, but Asian history in general. I don't count Mao Zedong as the biggest I call him the biggest killer, absolutely, but he didn't necessarily commit a genocide. I consider a genocide to be door to door to door to door, constant searching, frantic searching of people and just killing them on the spot. That's, to me, a genocide. Mao just killed anyone that disagreed with him. Pol Pot actively went out about and searched for anyone that he disagreed with and he killed, which is kind of ironic because, to me, Jay Jones is wanting to be a Pol Pot. And the fact that you take the two most evilest people in history, Pol Pot and Hitler, and you say, never mind them, Jennifer Gilbert is worse because I disagree with her. It's sick. And on top of that, you literally suggest taking a gun and delivering 2 bullets to the head. 1 bullet should be enough to kill, to unalive. But two, the hate is real. Now you have the colleague, very uncomfortable, says, Jay, please stop. And he takes it as a joke. Lol. Okay. You see, this guy is fake. It really bothers me when you talk about hurting people or wishing death on them. And yeah, it should bother everyone. This guy's mentally ill. He is mentally insane. He is delusional. This guy's unwell. And not to mention, and like saying it, and he doesn't care. He thinks this is a joke. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if we've been following the story, but Democrats today have been talking about Ziploc bags, children in Ziploc bags, over a recent in a recent ICE raid. Zip ties. With zero evidence, with zero footage, with zero photos. Do you see any photos? You know, yeah, you do have kids being detained. I'm sorry. Look. Here's the deal. I don't mean to get off subject, but I'm trying to make a point here. Before people jump on me and say, oh, this is so bad. No. When you have a terrorist running around in your hotel and you don't know who it is, you gotta detain everyone, even the kids. I'm sorry if but it looks like he's being detained. So what? They were released. Zip ties. Oh no. Yeah, look. Yeah, I mean, they were released. So what? But the fact and the point of me bringing this up is during the same time, Democrats are claiming that they care so much about the kids. We care so much about the kids. And the ICE agent allegedly said, F them kids. F them kids. Like it's the most worst sickening thing. Oh, this is so bad. He said, F them kids. Hang on. Jay Jones just said F them kids, but in a totally much extreme manner. He takes pleasure of seeing the Jennifer Gilbert and her husband hold the dead corpses of her children. That's what he was cheering for. And he said he would kill them. Not someone else, he would. And not only that, but her. So don't give me this. If Democrats want to talk about kids and this is hilarious. Because zip ties even are products in stores. Folks, I grew up with these, guys. I put myself in a zip tie. Because we were kids. And so what? The left, they're just saying, oh, it's zip ties. No, it's not zip ties. It's the fact that you're mad that they're being taken away. They're not even arrested. They're being detained because they're rounding people up to get the terrorist cartels, Tren de Aragua, out. And they did. We got 32 people in jail. And guess what? These people in their photo right here, they're now released as we speak. So this shouldn't be a story. The F them kids part, regardless if it's true or not, it's one person. One person, ICE agent, bad attitude, bad spirit, whatever. Guess what? Regardless what he said, it will never, ever take out what Jay Jones just said. He said at the quiet part, but the quiet part was just spoken all out loud. In my latest average, I've seen a neck-and-neck race between Jay Jones and Mayeris. But it's become quite apparent that Mayeris is probably going to carry this pretty swiftly to victory. Because even Democrats, as much as we continue to call them out for continuing to do this stupid bull crud, a lot of them, they generally don't agree with the rhetoric, and they'll protest it. So, well, you're going to have to hope they don't. Some people, we know the radical left will actually rally behind Jay Jones, actually. We know the radical left will rally behind Jay Jones and his comments, his diabolical, vile comments that distort human life in every way possible. They will rally behind him. And does that mean the radical left fueling Alexandria, Arlington, Fairfax County, that metro area up in the north, will that deliver him victory? No. In order to deliver that, you need to get moderates, independents, fake Republicans out and voting also. So I haven't done a video of a down ballot election other than the governorship, but this has made just groundbreaking news. Mayeris is surging in betting markets right now because of this comment, and I just really want to talk about specifically before I mention. Mark Robinson went through something similar, but I have something to tell you. Got some bridge to tell you right here. Mark Robinson what he said was nowhere as bad as what Jay Jones has said to our faces. Now, Republicans in 2024 held Mark Robinson accountable because of that. You had Trump voters vote for Stein. The question is, will there be Democrat voters that will be switch and vote for Mayeris? Here's the issue I take part. It's less likely because we do know that Democrats are more partisan than Republicans. Democrats are just hard rock and hard place when it comes to voting for their ideology only. Okay? Maybe you'll get independents. Maybe you get actual establishment Republicans rallying to Mayeris. That's what seemed to have helped Glenn Youngkin pull it off. But we do know the fringe left will, and I mean it, they will back Jones in his effort. Yes, you got Glenn Youngkin calling him to drop out. I have news for you Republicans that suggest that he's going to drop out. He's not. Because, number one, if he drops out, his career is over, number one. Number two, this is his election to lose. Dropping out is not going to make it any better for him. So, by the way, it would hurt his party. Out of everything, Democrats want him to stay. Okay? Democrats want Mayeris to stay in the race. Because if he drops out, then you get the race specifically involving, let's see if there's any candidate races in Virginia Attorney General. Okay. Yeah, you got a very tight race already. It's just ridiculous. But I'm just telling you right now. Let's see if there's... Yeah, you just have write-in, and yeah, basically in a nutshell, Mayeris runs unopposed. So we would win this inevitably. No contest. Democrats can't afford that. So they might as well use Jones as a sacrificial lamb to see if they send the lamb across the field and see if he avoids the lions and the tigers. If he makes it across the field without getting hurt and with all four limbs together, then I guess it's a win, but I doubt that's going to happen. He's being exposed as a domestic terrorist. Winsome Shears did an address and all that stuff. That's good. But she could have called it out. This is domestic terrorism. Jay Jones, it's like you have already been convicted of reckless driving. And now you have been exposed for very, very evil and vile text messages. Very vile. Yeah, he also ran and he lost for a reason in 21. Remember that, guys. Really, Virginians are like, the Virginia Democrats decided, oh, this is the only guy we got. And I'm like, geez, you might as well be, guys were pretty much better off running Shannon Taylor. Come on. But yes, I'm sure you guys, my predictions changed wildly. Like, first off, Jay Jones would probably win in the urban, like Virginia Beach and Chesapeake, mainly because those are urban cities. And like I said, these urban areas, they're more likely to vote Republican due to, tough on crime policies. This is kind of how they think of it. But you also have this county, I don't know what it's called. We actually pull up. Well, let's go ahead and see if we have actually a county. Yes, we do. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of flipping. Yeah, you have, of course, Sussex, Chesterfield County. Yes, that is a county, a hot spot you probably need to win in order to win. I think, being a metropolitan area of, specifically, being a metropolitan area of Richfield, you should probably pick it out. Let's see if they really like Jay Jones or something like that. Sussex County, very possibly could be picked up. I do not know. It's making dramatic shifts to the right lately. It has an African-American population. And it's important. Yeah, it's like Jay Jones' campaign is pretty much bad as it is. So I do think we could possibly pick this up also. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Like, oh, Jay Jones said some mean things, therefore he's going to... It's more that this is just pure domestic terrorism. Everyone should be against this. We know the far left won't be against it. We don't even need to ask the question, will the far left be against it? Will they condemn it? Of course not. No, because they are a part of the Jay Jones cult. So the question is, what about James City? Well, we'll get to that later on. James City, I think it's staying. Winchester, it was close. But yeah, we have mostly... How about this? This county right here, that's Suffolk County. And that county specifically was a pretty close one. And I don't think there's margins. Don't tell me there are no margins. Suffolk. Yeah, it's a pretty populated county. It's African American, has a dense African American population, as you can clearly see. 52% in 2020, 57% in 2024. So it is pretty Democratic. The question is, yeah, I think it's staying blue. As much as we hate it, I mean, it's probably this county that's questionable. Greenville. It's a long time been Democratic. And, okay, yeah. It's possibly going to... I'm going to leave it blue as of right now. Or we could pull up Jackson Jude. No, not Jackson Jude. Dave Leaps. Oh, this is 21. But yes, let's see. 21. We need governor. And we could even do lieutenant governor also. I think Surrey County has been indefinitely labeled as Republican or pickup for Meirez. He didn't win it this time, 4 years ago. I think he's going to probably pick it up this time around. You got Brunswick County. It's traditionally been very Democrat. We're going to have to see how that goes. Chesterfield. But yeah. Franklin. Yeah, this is not good for them. Yeah. Yeah, Winchester City also. It's a tough one to call Winchester. Let's start with Franklin. I think Franklin will stay blue. Yeah, I have a hard time thinking Jones is going to pull this off. He screwed it up so badly. He can't keep his mouth shut. I mean, it's one thing to think those thoughts, but when you say them, honestly, who in what person's mind would think such evil? Who would? I just don't get it. Who in what world, what person's mind would consider and justify such evil? This guy very likely was celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. If he's celebrating and wishing the death of children of his opponents, he's going to celebrate what he calls a white supremacist neo-Christian Nazi. This is the logic of these people. So it is what it is. Well, no, it isn't what it is. This guy needs to be in jail. I mean, should we? I mean, really, I'm like, what else are we supposed to do? But yeah, I think in the long run, he's going to lose. Betting markets are responding. We're going to have to see how the polls. I'm very curious to see the polls after this. Will they possibly change in our favor? Probably. I am not sure. we do know that these polls are mainly biased for Democrats. They respond mainly in Virginia's political leanings. So don't go after this video expecting to see a huge bolstering Republican poll. I still think this is going to, but we should see some results of these comments in the polls. If not, then that's a problem. That's a problem because that shows that, our country has experienced so much lows when it comes to the violence that we are seeing here. And yeah, it's sad. We expect better. We absolutely do. But yeah, you could say that Brunswick could possibly go Republican. It looks a little weird, though. Even Greenville, which used to be Democratic stronghold, I will keep it. This is mainly for establishment leanings. But this is pretty much my prediction. I'm just left with Winchester, though. Should I give Winchester? How much did Winchester go by? Yeah, this is for Harris 9.1. I'll go ahead and give Winchester to Menieres. In regards to this city, I mean, we can pick it up. I mean, heck, out of everything, Hopewell voted for Yunkin. This is a city that voted for Harris quite a bit. But I don't know if it will go for Jones in this type of election, so I'll just leave it right now. But this is pretty much, if the comments are to make a damage, this is what you're getting. This is a pretty good Republican victory for Menieres. But anyway, what do you guys think? Oh yeah, also another thing. Abigail Spanberger. We're going to talk about her in another episode. But her response was bull. Like, serious. She goes and says, "Oh, well, Jay, this is not acceptable. I talked to Jay about this comment." It's like, okay, you talked to, obviously you're going to talk. Because you probably are giving Jay a backlashing, a tongue lash over ruining your campaign. Because let's think about it, folks. We'll talk about this in another episode. But you have Gonzalo Hashmi, radical socialist Indian Muslim, which that doesn't really matter, but it's unfortunate. The Muslim Democrats are building a very big reputation against themselves. Being Muslim is their personal decision. I don't condemn that. But I'm just saying, you have these radical Zohran Mamdani beliefs, they're just going to form bias against you. It has nothing against your faith or your ethnicity. It's just, they're just going to say, hey, look, these Muslim people are generally more far left. Mainly because they've lived the experiences of oppression in the Middle East or something like that. Their family lived during oppression during the Middle East. That under dictatorships. This is kind of what generally people think of. But you got people like Ghazala Hashmi. I started thinking, will she even win re-election? I don't know. Will she win this election against John Reed? John Reed's another character. We'll talk about him in another episode also. But yeah, you got these two lunatics, Jay Jones and Ghazala Hashmi. They're going to possibly very well make it hard for Spanberger to get past 50%. She probably will, but they say how bad Winsome Shears is. Spanberger's not. Ghazala Hashmi and Jones is not going to do so well to help Spanberger get past. But anyway, what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.